Okay, and I just want to remind everybody again that next week there's no class Monday or Wednesday, and in 2 weeks from tonight there's going to be 3 classes Wednesday night until Rosh Hashanah. So one class we're going to learn the laws of Rosh Hashanah, second class the laws of Yom Kippur, and the third class the laws of Sukkot, because in the month of Tishrei there's just no possibility for classes. Okay, so let's go now to Perek Lamed Vav, page 90, 164 at the bottom, 90 on top. So we're already in the middle of this. Okay, so now the Rebbe was explaining at the beginning of Lamed Vav that we know that our sages tell us the ultimate purpose of the creation of the world because he wanted a dwelling place in the low worlds. And now the Rebbe asked, what do you mean low worlds? If God's all over, there's no higher or lower. Higher means closer, lower means further. If you're all over, there is no higher or lower. So he starts explaining that before Hashem created the world, the only thing that openly existed was God. Now that he created the worlds, there seems to be a world. There seems to be a world. But nevertheless, how did Hashem create this low, low world that denies even the existence of Hashem? It denies the existence of Hashem. So how did Hashem create such a world? So he says, he lowered himself and covered himself and concealed himself, covering after covering after covering, until he was able to create such a world that doesn't even see a middle. And then we gave the analogy. Siddur gives, you have a light, the light shines. Put one covering on it, it's less light. Put 20 coverings over it, not only is it less, you can't even tell there's any light there. It's completely concealed. So he says, that's what it means that Hashem wanted a dwelling place in a low world. It means Hashem wanted a dwelling place, meaning where his essence could be revealed in the lowest of the spiritual realms. Of course, God's all over, but he's not revealed. Hashem wanted to be at the home where he could reveal his essence in a world which is completely empty and void, and not only empty and void, it contradicts godliness. And there Hashem wanted a dwelling place. And he says now we're going to start 4 lines to the end of the page. The ultimate purpose of the chain of the descent of the worlds, and their descent from level to level, is not for the higher worlds of Atzilus and Bria and those spiritual worlds. Because from their perspective, it's a descent of God. Now let me explain what this means. This is fundamental Chassidus 101. The higher emanations of godliness, Atzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, the 4 worlds. Okay? And as we learned, it's a chain. As Atzilus says 10 levels, Chochmah goes into Bina, into Das, into Chesed, and then from Atzilus, Malchus goes into Chochmah Abriya, another chain. There's a whole chain link. And the bottom link is connected to the top link. Okay? But the bottom line is, any revelation is not the essence. You know, they tell a story. Chassidim friends were talking. So one says to the next, hey, Yankel, can you define God for me? So Yankel opens his mouth and he's about to talk, and his friend smacks him in the face, friendly. He says, the second you open up your mouth to explain God, it's already not God. Any revelation, no matter how great the revelation is automatically limited in the amount it's revealed. sunlight and moonlight. So sunlight is a greater revelation of the sun than the moon is, because moonlight is not as powerful as the sun. So anytime you have any revelation whatsoever, no matter what the revelation is, it's already not the thing itself. Any adjective that you describe something in or with is automatically limiting it based on the description that you gave it. When you're talking about the higher spiritual world, and you're talking about the great worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, the great worlds, great revelations of God, the fact that they're only revealing God, that itself is a form of limitation. And if it's a limitation, then it's not God. I'm going to tell a story that I believe I told once, but this will bring out the essence of the point. If you love somebody, okay, you love somebody, and you hug them and kiss them, does that bring out the real essential love? That's only, I'm not talking about today's world. Hugging and kissing doesn't mean anything. I'm saying you hug somebody that you love, and you kiss somebody you love. That is not your real feeling of love. Any revelation of an inner core cannot be the inner core because it's coming out in the descriptive, limited form of how you're describing it, whether it's a kiss or a hug, but it's not the thing itself. There's a story when the Friedrich Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, was a very baby in the cradle, they called it. The Rebbe Rashab was learning Chassidus with the Chassid. He was learning Chassidus with the Chassid. They finished learning, and they walked by the previous Rebbe's cradle, and the Chassid mentioned to the Rebbe Rashab, the boy's father, he's such a handsome baby. And the Rebbe Rashab said, I had a desire at that moment to give him a kiss. He said, I didn't. I went out. I wrote a Hasidic discourse. And when the previous Rebbe got older, he gave it to him. And he said, this is a Hasidic kiss. That's the story. Our Rebbe explains the story when the Rebbe told it over, that I gave a remarkable interpretation. What does it mean that this is a Hasidic kiss? And why didn't the Rebbe Rashab give his son a kiss? So the Rebbe explains as follows. The Gemara says about Anechi Hashem Elokecha, that Anechi is an acronym. Ana Nafshi Savis Yohavis. The Gemara in Shabbos. Simply, the Gemara means, I myself wrote it, I myself gave it. Ana Nafshi, I myself. Savis wrote it, Yohavis, I gave it. The Alter Rebbe defines that Gemara much deeper. Hashem didn't say in Anechi, I myself wrote it and gave it. Now the Rebbe says what the Gemara means is, I wrote myself and gave myself. In other words, in Torah, Hashem put his essence, not descriptive adjectives, not anything. God says, I put myself, I wrote myself and put myself in the Torah. The Rebbe said, Tzaddikim, the Gemara in the Medrash says are similar to God. So the Rebbe explains when a Rebbe writes a mimer, a discourse, it says a discourse, their whole essence is in it. Their essence is in that discourse. With the Rebbe Rashab, when this chassid told him how beautiful the baby, the Friedrich Rebbe was, he was an urge, but he said, but that's external. It's external show of that doesn't reveal my real love. So what did I do? I wrote a mimer. I put my essence into that Hasidic discourse. Then I gave it to him. I said, this is a Hasidic kiss, meaning this is the way you put your essence in the emotion. When you have the worlds of Atzilus, as great as they are, even higher than Atzilus, it's still a revelation of godliness. It's not the essence of God. So you can't say the Alter Rebbe says here that the ultimate purpose of creation was for the world of Atzilus, etc. Higher, lower. Why? He says, because this is a descent. It's only a revelation. Revelation is not the essence. Where is the essence of Hashem? He says here, the ultimate purpose of creation is this low world. This is what Hashem wanted. He said, Nesav Hashem desired to have a dwelling place down here where his essence could be revealed. Why down here is the essence? He says like this. This is what it entered God's will. That Hashem should have satisfaction when a person breaks evil, evil subdued. And evil is transformed to good, meaning not only subdued and broken, but elevated, transformed to light, to holiness. Hashem wanted to reveal himself, the infinite revelation of godliness, in the place of darkness and evil. In this world of darkness, which a much stronger ability, and the greatness of light when it comes from darkness is much greater. Okay, I have to explain this outside. Okay, now the Rebbe says like this. It's a remarkable concept. Any revelation, we said, is automatically limiting it based on how the revelation is. It's revealed in a certain way. Let's say there's a rule, the essence can't be revealed. That's built in the scholar. You can't reveal essence because any revelation is already a limitation, and essence is not limited. Where could the essence be revealed? When Hashem comes into a world of darkness, and darkness becomes light, and Shlomo Melech says, excuse me, Shlomo Melech says, in Koheles, V'ro'isi sheyashvisrein l'chochma min hasichlos ki yisn ha'er min ha'cheshech. We learned this earlier in Tanya. The pasuk says in Koheles, Shlomo Melech says, which seemingly you don't need a brilliant Shlomo Melech to say this. Shlomo Melech says, simply translating the pasuk, I see there's an advantage of wisdom over stupidity, like the advantage of light over dark. Now you tell me, I need Shlomo Melech to tell me that. Every person knows light is better than dark, and brilliance is better than stupidity. So the Zohar says, and Chassidus that Alter Rebbe all over the place says, that's not what it means. He doesn't say, because grammatically he should have said, I see the advantage of wisdom over foolishness, like the advantage of light over dark. He doesn't say that. It doesn't say over foolishness, over darkness. He doesn't say that. Shlomo Melech says, and this remarkable concept that Alter Rebbe is bringing out of here. Shlomo Melech is saying the ultimate wisdom is when it comes from foolishness. When foolishness is transformed to wisdom. When darkness, min ha'cheshach, yisin ha'ard, Dr. Rebbe defines the greatest level of light. It's not, doesn't say light over darkness. Then it would say al ha'cheshach. Min ha'cheshach means, Dr. Rebbe says, the ultimate level of light is when it comes from darkness, meaning when darkness is transformed to light, that's the ultimate level of light. What does that mean? Darkness is darkness, and light is light. Okay? Now, let's understand something. I come into a room, it's pitch black. I turn on the light, or as they say in yeshiva, open the light. But I turn on the light. Now the room is lit up. Okay? There's a battle between light and dark. Light won, now the room is lit up. What happens when I go out of the room and turn off the light? The darkness is there. Darkness is there again. That means I didn't transform the darkness. I pushed it away. So light and darkness, light is stronger. A little bit of light dispels a lot of darkness. Which means, in essence, light is stronger than dark. But there's something bigger than that. When darkness becomes light and foolishness becomes brilliance, that means, in other words, you're tapping into a level which is above both. How could darkness, which is defined as darkness, become light? How could foolishness, which is defined as foolishness, become brilliance? The answer is that's only in a realm of division, of entities, where things are defined. In a world of definition, light is light and dark is dark. But in the essence of Hashem, there is no light and dark. That's why Hashem can create light, he can create darkness, and he can join them all together. What happens in this world? And that's why the dwelling place of Hashem, Dr. Rebbe, is this such a fundamental aspect of Chassidus. Dr. Rebbe is explaining that this concept of why Hashem created the world was dira b'tachtainim, not for Atzilus. Atzilus is a revelation, and whatever the revelation is not God, it's not Hashem. So that's a descent. What is in this world? In this world, you're transforming darkness to light. You're making evil into good. Klipas naiga. You take wax with evil, not kedusha, and you make it holy. You ben shlich. You light Shabbos candles. You take a piece of parchment, evil, klipa, it's not kedusha, and you make it holy. What did you just do? You combined two opposites. You made darkness into light. That means not you dispel the darkness, like in a room you close the light. When you transform darkness to light means when you close the light, the darkness is lit. We can't understand it because our brains don't work like that. We're too, in Yiddish to say, klein kapeldik, too narrow-minded. But the bottom line is, where does that come from? Where can you combine two opposites together? That's only where the essence is revealed. And therefore it's not defined. It's not revelation. Because revelation, then light is light and dark is dark. And then dark can be light. Atzilus can be Bria and Bria can be Atzilus. Because it's defined in what it is. What happens though when you transform? What happens though when you transform evil to Kedusha? That darkness becomes light. Evil, where did you tap into? Where does that come from? That comes from the essence of Hashem. And that's why Hashem says, my essence can only be revealed in this world. Because a neshama in Gan Eden can't take evil and make it into Kedusha because there's no evil in Gan Eden. Only in the neshama, in a body that reaches such a low level, can transform darkness to light, and that's connected. That's a similar concept. Chassidus explains that a mere like Purim, contrary to public belief, that Purim wasn't such a great miracle because it was in nature. Esther's the queen, Mordechai the Kissinger. They have the connections. Comes along, Chassidus says just the opposite. A miracle enclosed in nature is a greater miracle. Why? Because there's nature, okay? Water flows, comes a miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf. God split the sea. He split it. It was a miracle. What did he do? He broke nature. He broke nature. He didn't make nature supernatural. What happens when you have a miracle in nature? That means you combined two opposite forces to coexist, fire and water. Fire and water cannot coexist. But in the spiritual realms, it coexists. We say in davening, we say in benching, Osa Shalom, and everybody knows the song, Osa Shalom b'mromav, the God who makes peace on high, who Yasa Shalom Aleinu would make peace upon us and all Jews, right? We say it in benching and davening 3 times a day. So the Medrash says, always says, what peace does God make up there? Who's fighting up there? So the Medrash says, there's an angel called Michal. He's the angel in charge of water. And there's another guy up there called Gabriel. He's the angel over fire. Now, normal fire and water can't coexist. So what happens? God makes peace between Gabriel and Michal, between fire and water. That is a much greater level of a miracle than water extinguishing fire or fire extinguishing water. So now Chassidus explains a miracle of Purim, when you combine two opposites, you have to tap into a level above both. Because once you defined as dark, you can't make it light. If you define the stupidity, you can't make it brilliance. It's when you're not defined, meaning you come from the essence of Hashem, which is totally not defined. And Hashem's essence comes into the world. And this is the power we have as Jews. We take darkness, meaning objects which are not Kedusha, Klipa. You take food that's not holy, but it's kosher food. You make a brach on it and you eat it for the right purposes. What did we just do? We brought Kedusha into something bad. We united good and bad simultaneously. Where does that come from? Only from the essence of Hashem. Therefore, what is the purpose of creation? You can't see the purpose of creation out there. It says is Atzilus, a world which is only revelations of godliness, emanations of godliness. That's not God. We said before, the chassid opened his mouth to explain God. He smacked him in the face, and he said, the second you open up your mouth, it's already not God. And therefore, and this ultimately, now Rebbe is going to explain this paragraph, next paragraph. Ultimately, this revelation of the essence will be when Mashiach comes. That's when the essence of Hashem will be revealed to everybody. But that is dependent, as Dr. Rebbe says, the Bekim Lamed Zayin, that this revelation of Tchias HaMeisim is dependent on what we do in the time of Golus. We behave in the time of Golus, we have a greater revelation of Mashiach. Why? Because we're tapping into the essence now when we do terms. Okay, I apologize. I know it wasn't easy to listen to a hoarse voice. But again, next week there are no classes. So the next class will be Monday, the 28th of August. And hope to see you then. Tonight's Rosh Chodesh. Everybody have a good Chodesh. And tomorrow we start saying L'Davar Hashem Eiri, Shachris and Mincha. Friday we start blowing shofar for the month of Elul. Everybody should be blessed with a Ksiva, Chsimat Torah, L'Shana Tova Mesukah.